So that concludes the first round here. And again, with the Eagles takeaway from this is Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. And then they trade away their other first-round pick to get A.J. Brown. If you remember, prior to the draft, they traded away another first-round pick, which essentially resulted in an additional first-round pick for next year, Mike. So they're stocking up, if you will, and Howie's trying to rebuild this thing through the draft, certainly, rather than having to go out there and make it. And look, they showed you they're willing to do it. They signed Hassan Reddick. They made the trade for Brown and ponied up to him. It's not like they're not paying out, but you got to draft well to be successful in this league. And that was one of the issues that they had the last few years.
You build your roster through the draft, and you'll hear all of the good GMs say that. Mm-hmm. But, this draft thing is such a tough thing because there's no exact science to this. Mm-hmm. You have to go in and you do all your research, you do all your due diligence, and you try and be as smart as you can be about the process. But still, and Seth mentioned this at the very start of the show, it's hard to tell, it's hard to measure the heart of any young man. Right. It's hard to measure what any guy is willing to give of himself to be the best player that you can possibly be. And that, to me, is the essence. That's how you figure out how much a guy is willing to give and how good a guy is going to be. Yeah. What is he willing to give? How much heart does this guy have? You can do all the measurables that are out there, but that doesn't tell you what kind of player the guy is going to end up being.
Yeah.
You talk about, building through the draft. The thing that scared me about the Rams is they did it the opposite way.
They gambled, man.
They spent and they bought a Super Bowl championship.
Yep.
Right.
And if the Cincinnati Bengals figure out a way, in my opinion, two things. If they don't go for it on 4th and 1 at midfield, the second possession of the game, and just give up field position, that first 7 points that they gave to the Rams, and you get into the fourth quarter, Odell Beckham Jr. goes down, Tyler Higbee is already out.
Yep.
You got one wide receiver on the field, and you mean to tell me the defense coordinator can't figure out how to take Cooper Kupp away?
Yeah.
And he destroyed them in the second half.
He did.
All by himself. He won that game all by himself. But when you look at that situation, the thing that scared me going into the offseason is that, the league is a copycat league. I'm like, everybody's going to start doing this nonsense. They're going to start trading away draft picks and, to build these super teams, and it was scary.
We've seen that tried many times before.
Oh, yeah, the Dream Team.
The Dream Team. We've seen Washington do that many times. Dallas, they try and go and buy the championship by buying some of the best players that are in free agency out there.
Right.
But it didn't work last year.
Yeah.
But most times, building your roster is through the draft and through just maturing those guys that you get in the draft.
But the scary part is, Mike, because it worked,
you are going to see it.
No question. Others are going to.
No question.
There's a real cool tweet from Jalen Hurts where he's FaceTiming with A.J. Brown, and those two are like beside themselves that they're going to be playing together. And
I love that.
The tweet is, "Let's do it, kinfolk." So that's coming from Jalen Hurts about A.J. Brown. So that's pretty cool.
Well, going back to what Mike said about building through the draft, the one thing I like about what the Eagles just did for the second year in a row, their first round draft pick comes from what conference?
The SEC.
Okay. I mean, how many years in a row did they neglect the SEC?
Very true.
So Howie said that he's relying more on listening to people outside of him 2 years in a row now. So maybe Howie has turned over a new leaf and listening to his people more so. I mean, 5 players from Georgia went in the first round. I had said off the top of the show, I expected a minimum 7 to go in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
5 went in the first round.
Yeah.
So that tells you about the pedigree of that program, at least for this year.
No question about it. All right. It has been a great night. Want to thank our amazing JAKIB Media crew.
These guys are awesome.
Unbelievable yeoman's work the entire day. So thank you to our crew. Devin Caney did a phenomenal job.
Fantastic
job
with
her reports and keeping us up to speed on all the breaking news that was happening as well. And, of course, all the folks here at Top Golf, Swing Suite, our guy Zach doing an awesome job here at Ocean Casino Resort. Easy for me to say. And, of course, Joe Krause himself, the man Krause, getting it done with a quality hat. He's in. That's a first round draft hat that he's wearing tonight. That's for sure. But for D Gun, Derek, you and I be back at it tomorrow at 12
o'clock
with Sports Take. Seth, it was a blast hanging out with you, man.
Absolutely, my
Certainly
pleasure.
Appreciate it, Mike, as
man,
always.
Loved it.
Good
I
seeing you,
love
Q.
the Krause. Krause has got the Kango.
I know he does.
You know, that's the
He been hanging out with Doc.
You know,
That's right.
He has 750 Kango hats.
no man.
750.
749.
749 because he gave me one.
He's hanging with
right.
Bruce Arians.
That's right.
There you go.
Bruce
right.
Bruce wears that Kango. He's
got
rocking.
the
The,
Bruce
he's
Arians
rocking the
look. He just needs
Kango.
to go He'll
700.
look just like him. Yeah, all right.
First time I met you wasn't wearing that hat, Joe.
It's a whole new world now, Seth. It's a whole different ball game now.
This
All
is
right.
the quietest I've ever seen him.
Hey, and we appreciate everybody for all the comments, everything that went down, everybody for tuning in and streaming and hanging with us. It's been a lot of fun. That's for sure. Guys, great night, man.
Oh,
Big night for the
thanks
Eagles.
for having me.
Yeah,
Big
man,
night for the
absolutely.
Eagles, that's for sure. All right, that's going to do it for us, the JAKIB Media Draft Special crew.